Okay, it's 12 noon. The Norfolk Public School District's Board of Education meeting is called to order. Roll call.
Terry Bauer,
Present.
Cindy Booth,
Present.
Brenda Carhart,
Present.
Beth Shashikant,
Present.
Tom Stanton,
Present.
Sandy Wolf.
Present.
All members are present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. This is a legal meeting of the Board of Education as advertised by the means specified in board policy. A complete copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the boardroom for your review. A copy of the agenda is available at the desk of the recording secretary. We will now go to public comments and communication. This is the time during the meeting when the public may request to address the board. According to state law, if you wish to comment, you must identify yourself, including your address, the name of the organization you represent, and the topic that you wish to address. Public comment cards are located at the media table in the back of the room. Please pick up a card and provide the required information if you plan to speak. Each individual's comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and the total cumulative time for all public comments will be limited to 30 minutes. Please note that the board cannot discuss or act upon matters that are not listed on the agenda. Therefore, board members will not respond to your comments or questions. If you wish to request that an item be placed on a future board agenda, you may contact the superintendent or her assistant during normal business hours. Also note that concerns related to school personnel need to be addressed to the superintendent using the approved district protocol. Individuals who make false, defamatory, or slanderous statements during public comments may be held legally liable. Slanderous comments are not protected just because they are made at board meetings. Please come to the podium if you'd like to speak. Okay, we will close the public comments. We are to special presentations. Eric Wilson.
Thank you, Madam President. Starting back in around January, February timeframe, Dr. Thompson and I went around and through the district looked at facilities reviews. We could bring it back to the board and also look at the needs of the district as we're starting to build the budget this time of year. So you'll notice some of my pictures, they do have snow in them still, but that's from last winter. So we went to each one of our buildings, evaluated with the principals, and a lot of them surveyed their staff if there was things that they noticed too. But we looked at just the building itself, grounds, roof, just the interior of the building, the basic needs of the building, and also one of the big ones was HVAC needs. The district's done a lot of work over the last 10 years updating the needs of our district and our facility, but you know how it is when you get one thing done, something else pops up, right? So as we go through this list, I went through by each building, and if you guys have questions about anything, please ask. So I threw in some pictures too that help kind of show you what we're looking at, but this is Bel Air, the HVAC units at Bel Air. Obviously our new addition, everything's brand new, looks really good. We do have a couple older rooftop units. We have one unit, room 132 area, that feeds 3 classrooms that has a bad compressor that we're working on. We do have some humidity issues that we're trying to address in the library. Obviously humidity, I think across our district is one thing that you'll see as kind of a common theme. A lot of our older HVAC units that we put in, heat pumps, don't have dehumidification on them. And especially in areas where we have the library, books and stuff like that, humidity becomes a bigger issue for us. So 8 rooftop units on there, those are about $36,000 each. And none of these things are like, oh my gosh, we gotta replace these tomorrow. Just things that we have to keep in our site so that we know there's potential of concerns in the future. One goes down, it's gotta be replaced if we're gonna keep having school there, so. If you've been in Bel Air recently, you can tell the carpet in there's a little bit older. In the older edition, that's about 20 plus years old. This picture maybe doesn't show it real great, but normally with these carpet tiles, you don't see the seams like you do in this one, and this is just an older tile. Kind of was newer, developed technology maybe back in the time, and it's starting to kind of shrink back, and so we're getting gaps in that carpet there.
Says per room, when it says entry, office, hallway, is that 3 different rooms or is that combined into one?
No, this is just for the entry, office, hallway. Those are all like combined one thing, but then individual classrooms that have the same carpet would be about, we average about $4,000, $3,500 per classroom. Good question, thank you. Concrete on that south side of Bel Air where our drive up for our life room is at, has a lot of broken up concrete. We historically have done concrete projects every summer, trying to fix up, the worst areas first. We usually replace panels at a time as they're broken. We don't necessarily just go tear out a whole drive or parking lot. We just kind of replace busted up panels. There's a lot of broken panels in this area. We could 20,000 maybe wouldn't do the whole lot, but it would hopefully clean up some of these more rough broken panels. And this is an area where we see a lot of wheelchair access and walker access with our life program there. Then just a few other notes on this one for concrete. Just we had some concrete that was heaving underneath the gym door that we're working on, and the roof drain on the east side drains right onto the sidewalk. Does not drain into a ground drain, so therefore, middle of winter, it ices up pretty bad.
I have a quick question, Eric. On your concrete, do we have people in our maintenance that can do just spot fixing, or do you hire it out?
We do some cold patch stuff and like self-leveler to kind of clean up areas that we can fix, but to tear it all out and put new in, we don't necessarily do it ourselves. Most of the time we contract that out.
What kind of square footage are you looking at as far as finishing it? You doing?
Just for Bel Air, you're talking, or, well,
Yeah, since we're on Bel Air.
we have lots of square footage across the entire district. Like, we're just looking at numbers, round numbers, I guess, on this one, as we're just talking about panels and how many panels would have to be replaced.
What costs are you basing that off of per foot?
Off the top of my head, I apologize, I don't know the answer. I can get that for you.
That's fine.
But maintenance guys, when we went around with maintenance guys and I talked with them, like, oh, this many panels, we're probably looking about $20,000. Just try to give me round numbers, something we can start looking at. Grant Elementary, this is an older HVAC system in this building. We have 2 makeup air units in there that are not working properly. And we have a lot of heat pumps in this building. There's 20 heat pumps in this building. They do not provide dehumidification. Just to do the heat pumps in their first floor would be about $123,000. Second floor would be about $150,000. It is recommended that we start budgeting to replace a couple of these each year. Well, obviously, they're not going to replace them until they go out, but we need to make sure we have money set aside in case we do lose one or two. Couple requests was to replace carpet, again, some older carpet in areas, in larger classrooms like this kindergarten classroom where we've kind of got a tile and carpet that was originally done, kind of a weird setup, makes it hard for the class setup or arrangement in there with that carpet and tile and the transition strip between the two, something that they would do through their building fund. Also, again, back to some drainage issues where we got drains that come down right onto the concrete. Middle of winter, this area near the basketball court gets iced up pretty bad for us. And we are currently dealing with some humidity issues in that basement as well, which anytime you have humidity issues, it starts to get some air quality issues for you. Jefferson Elementary, older buildings, every time we have these kind of areas, we have to check that and make sure that for asbestos when we're dealing with old buildings, old tile, old glue. So cleaning up just those areas, just making sure that we don't have any issues where we have asbestos issues. So a few broken tile spots, we have addressed this one this year, this summer. The north side of the sidewalk, when it was put in, the grass is actually a little too high for that sidewalk. So when it freezes, thaws, snow melt gets onto here and has trouble getting off, which is very simple. We can put some drains into the grass here and get that out of there. Again, being an older building, in their library, we have some large old windows that don't seal up very well anymore. Don't make it very well insulated in that. Obviously, our heat has to run a lot more. Just an older system. A lot of times these things will actually get some frost on them as well. Lincoln Elementary, around the edges of our gym, just with the cold and thaw, the floor movement a little bit. It's caused the tile to crack. I don't have a picture of that one in this slide, but I got one coming up for you in a minute, because West Side's got the same issue. But, so cracking up of the gym tiles, cleaning those up, building they come out the building from this door on the back side, they walk through the parking lot to the playground, lots of broken concrete in there as well. Painting, just cleaning up the paint in the building. A lot of that building's new from that new remodel, but we didn't paint the stairwells. Those are the only parts of that building that didn't get new paint on them. A lot of our pairs will paint for us in the summer when we have some time for them or some extra hours available. But those stairwells, with them being so tall and scaffolding, just not something we don't want to put our pairs in that kind of position. And then there's some older doors in this building, some older exterior doors like this one that don't seal up real great anymore, leaks cold air. Our guys do the best they can to help maintain those and put seals in them, but just with the quality of those doors, new technology is way better.
I have a question about the concrete. When they replace the concrete, does it usually last for a long time, or is it typical that it cracks and does this kind of stuff and we have to keep replacing it?
Well, there's probably two guarantees with concrete in Nebraska, right? It's going to get hard and it's going to crack. So a lot of it's in the prep work, making sure they got a good base underneath of it, and that we have a decent material to it. And we don't salt our new concrete because that helps eat that top layer off. So just taking care of it the right way is going to help it last as long as possible. But in Nebraska, it's going to get hard and it's going to crack. So when we bought Little Panthers preschool back in the day, we knew that parking lot had some issues, and it's just continually getting worse and worse. So there's a lot of parking lot issues at Little Panthers preschool. Again, we just said if we threw $40,000 at it and started replacing the worst panels possible, how far could we get? And then just start budgeting for some more panel replacement as needed. The roof, when that building was done, everything was new except for the roof over the gym and the kitchen. The kitchen this last year was leaking pretty bad. We had to replace the roof on that this summer. The gym would be the last roof that's on there that is original to the building. Will need to be replaced at some point in time, but the kitchen had to get done because we had some pretty severe leaks in there this last year. Then just some minor cleanup issues. There's a fire hydrant near the playground that needs to be covered up. We have a soft surface playground in there that's got some areas that are peeling up. We want to get those cleaned up. And then just some drainage issues around the building that could be caused a little bit by concrete and grading. Washington Elementary, our HVAC units in that, we have gym and Unit 2. They're old original units. They're surviving. We've put a lot of maintenance into them. Concerned that in the next 5 years they could be an issue for us. That could be about a $300,000 project, replacing a large air handling system like that. Some concrete, they would like to put some concrete on the north side of the building just for getting trash out to the trash cans a little bit easier. And then the request was about renovating bathrooms, and you're going to see this in some of our other ones as well. A lot of our older buildings have this kind of unique pink tile, and we went through and years ago they painted the stall doors and walls and kind of gave it like a textured coating to make them look a little bit nicer. We have been going through over the last few years and upgrading those, putting some of you probably seen those nice maroon wall panels in there. But bathroom models can be fairly substantial. Just doing the panels in there, not doing anything with the tile or the floor, would be about $12,000 for the excuse me, for the boys and girls bathroom. Other thing at Washington Elementary would just be upgrading some of our lighting in there. We have the older fluorescent lighting, upgrading to that newer style, efficient lighting. Next one I got is West Side Elementary. HVAC in there, we have 3 Lennox units for the office, library that are older, have limited life yet. About $78,000 for those. 3 new gym, number 3 gym unit is old and not keeping up on cold days. So when we get those real cold blowing winds, wind chills, it gets pretty hard to keep up with those temperatures. This system struggles on those days. It makes it a little bit chilly having PE in the gym during those days. Just undersized for what we have for the amount of space in that gym. Gym floor, this is that gym tile I talked about before. Lincoln Elementary has the same issue. Just along those edges, we get those tiles popping up. We had this issue at Woodland Park. We just come in about 2 squares worth here and put a new row of tile all the way around the outside of that gym floor. Cleans it up, makes it look a lot nicer, safer. The kids can't, if they're near that edge, don't cut themselves on a broken tile or something. At West Side, we also have a very large asphalt basketball court outside in the playground area there. That is getting pretty worn. You can see obviously lots of cracks in there. Kids running around out there playing basketball. I mean, those are dips down. It's not just a crack, it's a dip down. We can cold patch that with asphalt, get us by, but something that's on the list that we would like to get that replaced. Couple door issues, just gym door, some canopy lighting, and again, upgrading to efficient lighting in that building as well. Woodland Park, some flooring. They would like to upgrade some flooring in there, some carpet. You can see the wrinkling in that carpet that we have in the library. Just an older, more original carpet to that building. Just getting wore down and starting stretched out and just can't get it. You can try to stretch those, but if they're glued down, they won't stretch, or those where they're thinned out here, they'll start tearing. We've got this ramp that goes down from the fenced-in playground area down to the basketball court down the bottom. They'd like to do some concrete in there, put some, it's sloped downwards toward this so that when it snows or rains, all that runs through here and just makes it kind of a muddy mess for getting students down to that basketball court area down there. So I'd like to put some concrete there. This is one of the buildings that we do not have sprinklers at. There's, a lot of ground there, just like Bel Air. It's a big playground area. So there's a lot of ground. We could put sprinklers there, but it's a substantial investment when we're sprinkling grass. And then these playground doors, you can kind of see just a little bit. You can kind of see the light coming through the doors there. These are old original doors as well, just again, older technology. They don't seal up as well. We have a lot of issues with the locks having to be adjusted multiple times throughout the year, whether it's hot or cold, just to keep those things working so that we can lock them. And that's our main playground doors that we go in and out of. But to replace that playground door area would be about $20,000. Middle school. Middle school has an older chiller system. It's got that water tower outside like we used to have at the high school. That thing's just starting to get older. That's something that we'd like to upgrade at some point in time. Spend a lot of money on chemicals to keep that thing running. We have very hard water, obviously, in Norfolk that is hard on those chiller systems. 5th grade side has 26 original heat pumps in there to that building. I'd like to see that get dehumidification units, but you're talking about 26 heat pumps at about $15,000 per heat pump, so about $390,000 to upgrade that system. Also adding classroom makeup air units instead of just popping outdoor air into the building, but dehumidifying that air before it comes in, be about $66,000. Then some minor, again, concrete things just to address with moving of up and down during the winter. And then bathroom upgrades as well. All the bathrooms in that building have been upgraded except for the 6th grade side and outside of the gym area there. Junior high, we have a large air handler system in the basement of the junior high. Potentially would need a rebuild here in the next 3 to 5 years. That's about $150,000. Upgrading, replacing old carpet. Random classrooms, again, we're talking about a little bit bigger classrooms now as we get to the junior high school level, so about $4,500 per classroom. We do have some concrete issues where the concrete's pulling away from the building, whether we can seal that up with just sealer or if we need to tear out panels and replace those. Then just upgrading some landscaping grounds around there, dead trees that need taken out, fencing on that east parking lot. Landscaping is kind of leaning over from people that have run in their cars into it a couple times. Obviously, the auditorium is on the list. We've been doing fundraising activities to upgrade that auditorium. If nothing else, it'd be great to see that paint they got that peeling paint that's just kind of hanging in chunks, getting that cleaned up. Again, some minor other things here. They like a water fountain in the basement, just monitoring an old building and the movement in that building. The big one though, really, and I guess $100,000 is still a big one, but if you pay attention to that old section of the building, the stucco on that building, you can really start to see it's showing its age. And by leaving these open cracks and gaps in there, that just makes it harder when we get more rain, water, freeze and thaw. Senior high, we have an old roof over the 400 and 500 restroom part of the building. So that's that north addition in the building. Just an old roof, that kind of the last one that needs to be replaced on that building. Couple HVAC units, rooftop unit number 5, which serves rooms 603 through 609, is struggling with some overamping, draws too hard, causing it to pop breakers. Air handler 4, end of life, can no longer be serviced. They just don't make parts for it anymore. That's about $30,000. Air handler 5 is nearing end of life. That's $46,000. And AB unit, which is the main air handler that blows through the tunnels of the high school and services all of those main building, would be about $140,000 to rebuild that. Flooring, main gym needs refinish. That'd be about $60,000. That is slated to be done next summer. It does need to get done. It's not something we could put off on just for safety issues, and we're having some concerns. You've probably seen some of the peeling on the floor in that gym as well. Yep.
They were doing some floor last week. What was that?
At the high school?
Yes.
That's what our yearly just kind of go through, clean it up, and put a new layer of finish on it. But I'll show you a picture of the junior high. What we did at the junior high this year is what we want to do at the high school.
Gotcha.
I'll show you in a
Thank
minute. South hallways, recarpeting those, about $25,000. AC hallways, $10,000. These are just the main runs in that building. You will see we have got, I think carpet is already tore out, and the new carpet's coming back in the 400 and 500 hallways. Concrete, north side of the building. This is that north side. You got the football field out here, practice field. That north concrete. It's got a crack, major crack through it. It doesn't look bad from the picture, but it is actually a substantial height difference there. We have to mark that every year with orange paint just to make sure that people are aware. You can see some height difference here as the concrete's shifting and pulling away from the building on that side as well. Just some other concrete outside door 6 of Carson Theater, walks outside door 31. I'll show you some other areas that we're working on. The planter, that main planter in the front of the building, we'd like to see that get tore out and replaced, and not just for an aesthetic thing. We've had some issues when we call ambulances. If we have to take somebody out on a stretcher, this 90-degree turn right here, this is the only way up in there that's ramped, and it just makes it tough for emergency personnel to get into the building. So something that we could maybe upgrade there as well.
Would something like that be something that like one of the classes would want to do?
Our construction class, potentially. Tearing it out, probably not, but maybe building it back in, we could do. Kind of been on our list since I've been an assistant principal at the high school, is trying to make this little theater a more functional space, leveling that off. We did get bid on that probably about 10 years ago. That was about $150,000 to level that floor, take all the chairs out, make it into a multi-purpose space that would be functional for, meetings. That dance team could even go in there if the gyms were full. Just make it for lots more opportunity than what we have with this fixed seating that we have. Johnny Carson Theater also has some needs. The shell and the racking, all the weights and the pulleys and the light system in there. We could put $200,000 into that pretty easy. That shell, if you guys know, the shell is the sound back wall that goes up around when we have the band or the orchestra or the choir leaders singing in their choir. That's an original shell that was built with that building, or brought into that building when it was built. Just hard to find parts for it anymore. It's be almost 30 years old, so. And then just upgrading bathrooms. There's that maroon wall panel that we've been using as we've been upgrading bathrooms. So that was done. These were probably one of the first bathrooms that we upgraded. But you can see just cleaning them up. You can see the rust on the ceiling, bad tiles, just trying to get them, make it look a little bit nicer. You know, want to take our kids take pride in what we have, and we need to make sure we provide a nice looking opportunity for them there too. This is our maintenance building. We got a couple gas heaters that are in our wash bay that are not working like they're supposed to. The main shop heater, we have one unit, and if that goes down, and it's the original unit, if that goes down, we have no heat in that building for the shop side. Got some flooring that's old, needs tore out. Front deck, if you've been to the maintenance building, this front deck's pretty old. The boards are pretty worn, getting pretty weak. We did get a bid on that one, about $20,000 to tear that off, just because it doesn't look like a very big deck, but it wasn't built on footings, so we have to cut out the concrete below that to put footings in so we can build that up like it's supposed to in N2 code. Like to see a big shop fans in there replacing our car lift. This car lift it's a good quality lift. It's bent. We need one that's able to hold up the weight of the vans that we bought. So it's still functioning, but it would be nice to get one that's designed for what we need to be used for, not more residential.
What do you do with something like that when you take it out? Is it just going to the dump, or can somebody use it?
We could sell it. My concern with that one, we'd have to see with it being bent. That might be. I'd hate to sell it to somebody and somebody have an issue with it, like it falls and never drops a car. You know, I guess if we're selling it as is, no warranty, but we know that there's an issue with it. So, transportation side of things, we do have one backup route bus, but a lot of our route buses are older, have lots of miles on them. We lose one of those, we would probably end up getting rid of that bus, taking our backup bus and using that in place. Having a new route bus would help secure that fleet a little bit better for us. Sped minibus, we have 0 backup sped minibuses right now. Would be nice to get one of those that has an integrated car seat, so that it's just like a regular bus bench, but when we're hauling our littles, like Little Panther preschool type kids, the back of the seat actually folds down and the car seats are right there and the kids can belt into it. So
Quick question. What did we do last year? We bought several SUVs, did we not?
we bought 2 vans. It was all just vans last year. Or no, I'm sorry, not vans, you're right. This is Ford Excursions.
What are those being used for?
Just part of our activity and transportation fleet, our homeless students, go pick them up. If we've got a smaller group of athletic team going somewhere, that they only need 5 or 6 seats, they could take that. Otherwise, they have to take our bigger vans that hold 10.
Okay, thank you.
So just to show that it's not like we haven't been doing anything, okay? I gave you guys kind of a worst case list here. There's a lot of things on that list. But just an update of some of the things that we have done so far this year. We are out there right now. They should be painting all of our parking lot lines, refreshing everything in the parking lots, make it look nice and neat before school gets ready to start. Interior and exterior door lock project is going on right now as well. We're finishing up interior door locks. Exterior door locks, they're just getting through the wiring process. At Bel Air, we added the sprinklers into that system. If you've been by there lately, that we've got the sod down. In order to get all that sprinkler process working, we had to update our well, pressure valve. We'll be doing some seeding on the areas that we didn't sod. And we've also redone the life classroom over there, removing that from West Side to Bel Air. Grant, we've painted and repaired the stairwells. We're adding camera to the west side of the building. That was the only building we had left in our district that didn't have 360-degree exterior camera coverage, so that will be cleaned up. Jefferson, we've remodeled the kitchen. That was required by our auditor, inspector. So we've remodeled that kitchen, providing storage for tables, coolers, serving tables, flooring, and then we also did an HVAC replacement from insurance claim of a unit that was destroyed during the snow and ice that we had this last winter. Little Panthers Preschool, I talked about that roof that was over the top of the kitchen at Little Panthers. We replaced that one this summer. West Side, they've carpeted 3 classrooms there, and we did fix that gym tile around West Side, just haven't done it yet at Lincoln. Woodland Park, we remodeled the staff lounge. We've repaired the HVAC unit that was struggling up there. Middle school, obviously we're adding an addition to the middle school right now. We lost the HVAC unit in the gym this last winter. That's getting replaced, I think this week as we speak. And we've replaced 2 heat pumps on the second floor that failed on us this last year. Junior high, we're cleaning up the sprinklers after the remodel there yet around the building. The track remodel was completed this last winter. We use it for track this spring. Gym resurfacing, you can kind of see the picture there on the side. So that's kind of what I talked about at the high school. So there was a warranty issue with the sealant that they put down on there that required the floor to be sanded down to the base and started fresh. So it actually worked out in our favor. If you remember, the junior high gym was very old and yellowing and starting to show its age pretty bad. Really refreshed it and made it look nice. And at the junior high also, we had to replace an HVAC unit for the main office there in that building that went out just as school started last fall. And then finally, at the senior high, we've replaced the roof over the concessions area this summer. We're recarpeting the hallways in the 400 and the 500 hallways. And then door 13, if you remember the steps and the concrete outside door 13, those were getting pretty bad. The tips, it all broke off, so it was really kind of a hazard for somebody to walk down those and slide off. So those steps are all being replaced this spring or this summer as well.
I have
So
a
that's-
question before you go on. So how much of this work that is being done right now is being done by like our maintenance versus, I know you have to have special companies to come in and do some of the work like AC and stuff like that. How much stuff is actually able to be done by our maintenance department?
The minor maintenance, like HVAC unit maintenance, the general upkeep, that stuff we do in-house ourselves. To replace a unit, we don't do that. We don't have the equipment to tear out concrete and replace concrete, so we subcontract that out. The flooring, like this flooring, you want a specialized company that knows what they're doing, that they bring in large sanders and sand it, that it just wouldn't be feasible for us to try to do that ourselves and hang on to that equipment for using it once every 5 years.
The parking lines does maintenance do that?
No, we do not do that. Again, it's one of those special machines that, is it worth having one of those expensive machines to spray the lines and you use it once a year, or have somebody come in and do it for you?
How do you prioritize now which projects are going to be done? Do you try to do one at each building, or how do you do that?
It's nice to be able to say we can do one at each building so everybody gets something, but really it comes down to what's a need and what's a want. When an HVAC unit goes out, it's a need. Like, we have to get those things done. So we prioritize by those things that are a big need for us right now, but not. Can't say that like, okay, we've got $20,000 sitting here, let's go replace some concrete. Well, we need to make sure HVAC unit makes it all the way through the budget session, and if we lose one in April, but we spent that money on concrete in, September, then we're really struggling. So try to save it. A lot of these are paid for out of our maintenance budget, and that's why that's a bigger line item for us.
Some of the projects like removing the planter in front of the senior high and the sidewalk or driveway issue at Bel Air leading up to the Life building, that, would improve handicap access. Are there grants or things that are available for projects like that?
Most definitely, and same thing for buses. There's grants available for those, and some of these life safety ADA type activities. Just getting started in this role, 3rd week fully on here, so it's definitely stuff I need to start looking into, and we'll be applying for it.
How much money do we have for all these projects?
Well, rough numbers, I went through that list there. there's probably about $3.5 million worth of projects on that list. Like I said, we could knock all those out today and get them done, and there'd be something new tomorrow. So we really just got to kind of be patient, take off the things that are emergencies that need to be done immediately, like the roof at Little Panthers. It wasn't that we specifically budgeted for that roof at Little Panthers kitchen, but when it started leaking and rain when water was coming through our light fixtures, it had to get done. So I think we continue to tackle these as needed. We'll prioritize the list with our maintenance department as we go through each budget cycle. If there's money available that we can try to knock some of these projects out, we want to knock them out. If there's an emergency that comes up that jumps the list, that has to get done first. But we do have to start budgeting for some of those larger HVAC air handler replacements that are $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 units.
So is there any separate reserve for like emergency type situations, or it's just all straight out of the maintenance budget?
We do have a little bit of money in our QC Puff fund available to us as an emergency. And special building fund was something that we would have money set aside in potentially as well. Just depends on kind of, as we get through the budget here, the next board meeting, we'll talk a little bit more about where we're at with that and if we'll be able to afford to put money back into that special building fund or not.
Cleaning out the special building fund with middle school, pretty much. I mean, not cleaning out, but everything's allocated that's in the special building fund at this time.
Correct.
Well, that was uplifting.
Well, I wasn't trying to be depressing here for you, but I did end with this junior high gym floor is really nice though.
Yeah, way to end
If you
it,
remember
Eric.
what
Way
this
to
looked
end
like,
it.
I was
Yeah.
so impressed when I saw this. And this is that same process again. Middle school gym floor is going to get done. High school will be done next year, but it's just we keep working through these projects, and that's what we put money back for. And this is what we got to address. We'll address them as funds are available.
That's just reality. Yep. Thank you, that was great. Okay, reports and discussion items. 5.1, Finance and Facilities Report. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam President. The total amount of claims to be approved on the consent agenda for specific funds are listed below. General Fund, $216,212.97. Nutrition Fund, $94,311.27. Subsidiary Fund, $23,531.41. Special Building Fund, $256,023.59. Employee Benefit Fund, $281.83. Senior High Activity Fund, $24,464.69. Junior High Activity Fund, $1,369.87. And our Student Fee Fund, $36,147.
Thank you, Eric. Consent agenda. 6.1 is the minutes of the previous meetings on July 8th. They are attached for your review. And 6.2 is personnel. Ooh, we do have a contract, Dr. Thompson.
Well, we were hoping to have a contract for your approval today, but we did not get the background check in until this morning, so we will not have that until August.
Okay, so will that person still be able to start?
No, they will not be able to start until the second day of school, but it is a speech-language pathologist, so they do not typically start on the first day of school seeing kids, so it will be okay.
Okay, great.
Great to find a pathologist.
And 6.3 is claims. Mr. Wilson?
Attached are the claims. They have been reviewed by the Finance and Facilities Committee. There are no conflict statements this month.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second the motion.
I have a motion by Beth and a second by Brenda. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried, 6-0.
Thank you, Callan. Action item 7.1, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the disbursement from the Cooperative Fund to the City of Norfolk for turf replacement. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you again, Madam President. The City of Norfolk's looking to replace the turf at Memorial Field that has outlived its life expectancy. The anticipated amount for the turf contract is $475,145. The city is hoping to approve that contract at their next council meeting. We currently have $514,619.55 in our co-op account, and this account is created, we're the stewards of these funds for the city, Norfolk Catholic, Lutheran High Northeast, Norfolk Public Schools as well. So with this contract, that will leave us about $39,474 in that account. We will be expecting a deposit yet this fall, $12,500 from the city, $12,500 from Northeast, $12,500 from us, $6,000 from Lutheran High, $6,000 from Norfolk Catholic. So we'd have a deposit of about $49,500 for that account yet this fall, which would give us a total balance after turf installation of about $89,000. So we're in a good spot there. As I said, we are the stewards of the funds. It's not really necessarily our money. Turf needs replaced. That's what this fund was developed for.
I have a question again about how long does this new turf last? How long did it last time before they had to replace it again?
I believe the turf, when we bought it last, had an 8-year warranty, and we've made it, I think this is year 12. So we've made it way beyond its warranty and life expectancy. The new turf that they're looking to install will have a 10-year warranty, so.
So the balance that will be in that account after the installation just accrues for the next time that the turf needs to be replaced?
Correct.
How did we end up as the stewards of the account versus the city who kind of owns that property, right?
I'm guessing there was probably something that had to do with who's responsible for the funds, like who has better authority or able to do it in a, I don't know, when it comes to those political type funds, who can manage it easiest and not have to claim the responsibility or the I don't know, the requirements that go with it.
Sure, thank you.
If I remember right, I was in a conversation where when they change up the turf, they're changing the field to make it for soccer because of the Northeast and the soccer team didn't have the right field. Is that true? They're changing it up some, or?
That's correct. So the field does have to be shifted. The crown on the field has to be shifted 7 feet. I can't remember if it's to the east or to the west. And then also the goalposts have to shift 7 feet along with that. And that's just to get the full-size regulation soccer field that Northeast Community College needs in order to be a regulation-size college soccer field.
So are there any other expenditures that get paid for out of this?
Out of the co-op fund, we have also like our partnerships that we have with ESU and deaf, hard of hearing type funds that come in and go out. We're just the steward for those funds. But this specific turf fund is just for turf.
This might be a not unpopular question, but I'm sitting here thinking, so if we had to make these changes due to the soccer program at the Northeast College, did that cost extra in the cost? And why is Northeast not paying extra then?
Well, yes, it will cost more, which is included in that price. The funds are set aside for that. We have the amount of funds in there. And again, we're just the stewards. It's technically the city's money. We could vote no today, but it's just the city money. We're just holding on to it for them.
Well, chances are other soccer teams would use the field perhaps too if it's now a regulation size field.
Good point.
And we do have a very specific contract that is signed by all parties indicating that we hold this money for the city and it will be used for this specific purpose.
I'll make a motion to approve the disbursement from the cooperative fund to the city of Norfolk for turf replacement.
Second the motion?
We have a motion by Beth and a second by Brenda. Is there any further discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Callan. That brings us to the end. We have no executive session, do we, Dr. Thompson? No. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be held on Monday, August 12th at 5:30 PM. The second monthly meeting of the Board of Education is scheduled for Monday, August 26th, 2024 at noon. All components of these meetings will be held at the Norfolk Public Schools Central Administration Offices and will be open to the public unless an executive session is needed in order to protect the interest of the district or the reputation of an individual. Meeting adjourned.